Kiza's four eyes blinked in sequence as she reviewed the intelligence reports on her holographic display. As the Galactic Council's chief xenoanthropologist, she had studied every spacefaring species in the known galaxy. The humans, however, remained an enigma wrapped in a contradiction. According to every credible source, humans were merchants and diplomats. They were soft-spoken negotiators who preferred trade routes to Zan battle lines. Their military, if it could even be called that, consisted of ceremonial guards and patrol vessels that had never fired a shot in anger. The galaxy had collectively decided that Earth's inhabitants were the universe's most harmless sentients. Kiza had written 3 papers affirming this consensus. The Vrax Dominion's invasion fleet arrived at the Council Station on a Tuesday. Their war leader, Throck the Render, had made his intentions clear: surrender the trade nexus or watch it burn. The Council's defense force, a patchwork of ceremonial vessels, stood no chance against the Vrax's battle-hardened armada. Kiza watched from the observation deck as the deadline approached. Her species, the Quilani, had no warrior tradition. Neither did most council members. They had relied on diplomacy and treaties for 3,000 years. Now, faced with a species that respected only strength, they had no answer. "We need a miracle," whispered Ambassador Thelon beside her, his scales shifting to a pale shade of despair. The miracle arrived in a battered human freighter. It wasn't impressive. The ship bore scratches and plasma scoring across its hull. Its designation read Wandering Star, and it requested emergency docking clearance. Kiza barely noticed it among the chaos of evacuating civilian vessels. What she did notice was the human who stepped off. He moved with an economy of motion that her trained eye recognized but couldn't place. His name was Nick Chen, and he wore a simple gray jacket over what looked like civilian clothes. His eyes, though, those brown human eyes, carried something that made Kiza's primary heart skip a beat. They carried distance. Vast, terrible distance. "I heard you folks had a problem," Nick said to the Emergency Council Assembly. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. "Vrax Dominion, right?" "Human," Kiza found herself speaking, her translator working overtime. "With respect, your species has no military tradition. Perhaps you should evacuate with the other civilians." Nick's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind those eyes. "No military tradition, right." He pulled a small data chip from his pocket. "May I?" The holographic projector accepted the chip. What appeared made Kiza's world tilt. Service records. Not ceremonial guards, but actual combat veterans. Thousands of them. Humans who had fought in conflicts that the galaxy had never heard about because Earth kept its scars private. Brushfire wars on colony worlds. Pirate suppressions in the Outer Rim. Corporate conflicts that never made galactic news. And Nick Chen's file made Kiza's blood run cold. Special operations. 16 years. Decorations that she didn't understand but recognized as the kind earned in nightmares. "We told the galaxy what it wanted to hear," Nick said simply. "That we were merchants and diplomats. And we are. But we're also really, really good at violence when there's no other choice. One human cannot stop a fleet." Throck's message boomed through the station. "You have 1 hour." Nick checked his chronometer. "I won't stop the fleet." He looked at Kiza, and she finally understood what she saw in those eyes. It wasn't cruelty. It was capability. "I'm going to give them a choice." What happened next would be studied in tactical academies for generations. Nick didn't board a warship. He took a maintenance shuttle, alone. He flew straight toward the Vrax flagship, broadcasting on all frequencies. Kiza watched, along with millions across the station, as this single human requested single combat with Throck. The Vrax war leader laughed. It echoed through space itself. Then Nick told him exactly how he would lose, move by move, weakness by weakness in the Vrax battle stance. He recited Vrax military history, pointing out 3 battles where Vrax commanders had lost to inferior forces due to predictable tactics. He did it all in flawless Vrax military dialect. The laughter stopped. Throck accepted. Kiza had never seen real combat before. The duel, broadcast across all channels, lasted 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Nick moved like water, like shadow, like something that had shed pretense of civilization and remembered what humans had been before they reached for the stars. The Vrax were 7 feet of armored muscle, evolved to hunt in packs across predator-filled plains. Throck had killed 100 opponents in ritual combat. Nick fought like someone who had faced worse and survived. When it ended, Throck lay disarmed but alive. Nick, breathing hard and bleeding from a dozen cuts, offered his hand and pulled the Vrax commander to his feet. "Your fleet leaves," Nick said. "Or next time I bring friends." The Virax fleet departed within the hour. Kiza found Nick in the medical bay, refusing treatment beyond basic wound sealing. She had to know. "Why did your people hide this? Why let the galaxy think you were harmless?" Nick looked tired. More tired than any being she'd ever seen. "Because we're not proud of what we can do, Kiza. We got good at war because we had to. Then we decided we didn't want to be defined by it." He stood, wincing. "We'd rather be known for our music, our stories, our art, our humanity, not our ability to kill efficiently. But you did it anyway. To save us, yeah." A sad smile crossed his face. "Because that's human too. We protect our friends even when it costs us." As Kiza watched Nick walk away, she understood something profound. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their capacity for violence. It was their choice not to use it until there was no other option. She had 3 papers to retract and 1 new one to write. The galaxy had been wrong about humans. They weren't harmless. They were something far more terrifying and far more beautiful. They were restrained.